Ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about the concept of relationships, connections, and the people we surround ourselves with, we are really delving into the very essence of who we are. Human beings are designed for connection. From the moment we take our first breath until the moment we leave this earth, we seek interactions, affirmation, love, and sometimes just a simple word from others to remind us of our own humanity. Yet, there is a question that many of us avoid, a scenario we don't often discuss: what happens when a woman finds herself with no friends. A woman with no friends. Think about that phrase for a moment. It's not just a statement, it's a condition. It's a reality for many. But it is also a position of profound reflection and sometimes of deep power. Many would see this situation as one of weakness, loneliness, or even as a judgment against the woman herself. But I say to you today, we must reconsider how we view such circumstances. For sometimes the absence of friendship can be the very crucible through which a woman discovers her true self, her divine purpose, and her unshakable strength. Our society has long perpetuated the myth that a woman must always be surrounded by others to validate her existence. There is a dangerous message being sent to women that without the affirming voices of friends, without the constant company of companions, her value diminishes. But this is a fallacy. It is a distortion of truth. The presence or absence of friends does not determine a woman's worth. A woman with no friends may be seen by the world as isolated, but in the realm of purpose, she may be singularly focused. She may be misunderstood by those around her, but in the realm of destiny, she may be walking a path that only she can understand. We must be careful not to measure a woman's life by the number of people she surrounds herself with, but by the depth of her relationship with herself and her Creator. There is a critical distinction between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the painful awareness of being alone, solitude. On the other hand, is the state of being alone but at peace. A woman with no friends may find herself in solitude, and while the world might pity her, she may be in the midst of discovering a strength that those with an abundance of friends may never come to know. In solitude, a woman learns to listen to the voice within her. She begins to recognize that her greatest validation comes not from others, but from her own spirit. She learns to walk through life not seeking the approval of others, but finding her approval from within. This is not a state of arrogance, but a state of understanding that her purpose, her life, her destiny is not dependent on how many people she can gather around her, but on how deeply she can connect with the one who created her. A woman with no friends is often forced to become her own best friend. She must learn to comfort herself when there is no one else to turn to. She must learn to encourage herself when there are no voices around her to lift her up. She must learn to find joy in her own company, to find peace in her own thoughts, and to find strength in her own reflection. This is no easy task. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes a deep level of maturity to reach a point where you can look in the mirror and say, I am enough. A woman with no friends may feel the sting of isolation. But if she perseveres, she will come to realize that she is not alone. She has the greatest companionship that any human being can have, the companionship of her Creator. You see, friends can come and go. They can change with the seasons of life. But a woman's relationship with her Creator is eternal. It is unchanging. It is the one relationship that will never fail her, never leave her, never disappoint her. It is time for us to redefine how we view relationships. The world may tell us that the more friends we have, the more popular we are, the more valuable we are. But this is a shallow view of relationships. True relationships are not about quantity, they are about quality. It is better for a woman to have no friends than to be surrounded by people who do not understand her, who do not support her, who do not push her towards her purpose. A woman with no friends may be in a season of separation. And this is not something to be feared or pitied. Separation often precedes elevation. Sometimes a woman must be separated from those around her in order to ascend to the next level of her life. This is a principle that we see time and time again in life. Greatness often requires separation. Look at the life of any great woman who has walked this earth, and you will see that at some point she had to walk alone. She had to make decisions that others didn't understand. She had to move forward when no one else was willing to go with her. This is the path of greatness. It is also important to recognize that not all friendships are genuine. A woman with no friends may, in fact, be better off than a woman surrounded by false friends. There are people in life who wear the mask of friendship but do not have the heart of a true friend. These are the people who will walk with you only as long as you are going in the direction they want you to go. They will support you only as long as it benefits them. They will stand by your side, but when the storms of life come, they will be the first to leave. A woman with no friends is often spared the pain of betrayal, the wounds of false loyalty, and the disappointment of unmet expectations. She may feel the sting of loneliness, but she is spared the deeper pain of being surrounded by those who do not truly care for her. Let me say this, a woman's purpose is far more important than her popularity. We live in a world that glorifies popularity, that celebrates those who are constantly in the spotlight, constantly surrounded by others. But a woman of purpose is not concerned with being liked by everyone. She is concerned with fulfilling her destiny. A woman with no friends may be a woman who is laser focused on her purpose. She may not have time for frivolous conversations or superficial relationships. She may be so dedicated to her vision, her calling, her work, that friendships simply do not fit into her life at this moment. And this is okay. Sometimes the pursuit of purpose requires a woman to walk alone. It requires her to step away from the crowd and forge her own path. It requires her to be misunderstood, to be criticized, to be judged. But in the end, it also allows her to achieve greatness. One of the greatest lessons a woman with no friends can learn is the blessing of being selective. Not everyone deserves a place in your life. Not everyone deserves your time, your energy, your loyalty. A woman with no friends has the opportunity to be highly selective about who she allows into her inner circle. She can choose to only surround herself with people who uplift her, who challenge her, who support her dreams, and who push her towards her purpose. She can choose to reject the company of those who drain her energy, who bring negativity into her life, and who do not align with her values. This level of selectivity is a powerful tool in the hands of a woman who understands her worth. It allows her to build relationships that are meaningful, that are authentic, and that are based on mutual respect and support. One of the most profound experiences a woman with no friends can go through is the journey of self-discovery. In the silence that comes with solitude, she is forced to confront herself in ways that those constantly surrounded by others may never have to. This is a blessing in disguise because it is in these moments of introspection that a woman learns who she truly is. She begins to ask herself the deep questions: what do I want from life? What am I passionate about? What drives me? What am I capable of? Without the noise of external voices, without the influence of others trying to shape her into what they think she should be, a woman with no friends has the opportunity to explore her true identity. She learns to trust her instincts, to her tuition, and to follow her own heart. This is an empowering experience because in a world that constantly tries to tell women who they should be, a woman who has walked through the valley of solitude learns to define herself. A woman with no friends often has to face the harsh reality of rejection. Whether it is the rejection of others or her own decision to walk away from unhealthy relationships, rejection can be painful. It can leave a deep wound in the heart of a woman, making her question her value, her worth, and her place in the world. But here's the truth: rejection is often a redirection. Rejection, as painful as it may be, is not the end of a woman's story. It is simply a part of the journey. When a woman is rejected by others, it is often because those people are not meant to be part of her destiny. They do not have the capacity to walk with her on the path she is destined to travel. And while this may hurt, it is also a gift, because it frees a woman to find those who will truly appreciate and support her. A woman with no friends must come to understand that rejection is not a reflection of her worth. It is a reflection of the other person's inability to recognize the greatness within her. She must learn to see rejection as a divine filtration process that removes those who are not aligned with her purpose. Resilience is one of the most powerful qualities a woman with no friends can develop. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. But a woman who has learned to stand on her own, who has learned to survive without the constant support of others, develops a strength that is unshakable. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to keep moving forward, even when the odds are stacked against you. A woman with no friends may face many obstacles, but through these challenges, she becomes stronger. She learns that she can survive, and not just survive, but thrive, even when the world seems to be against her. This resilience is not something that can be taught in a classroom or learned from a book. It is something that is forged in the fires of experience. A woman with no friends learns to depend on herself, to pick herself up when she falls, and to keep moving forward no matter what. This is a quality that will serve her well throughout her life. One of the greatest dangers that women face in relationships is the risk of becoming codependent. Codependency occurs when a woman loses her sense of self in her relationships with others. She begins to define herself by her relationships, and her happiness becomes entirely dependent on the approval and validation of others. A woman with no friends, on the other hand, is often forced to avoid the trap of codependency. Without others to rely on for constant affirmation, she learns to find validation within herself. She develops a sense of independence and sense of sufficiency that is rare in a world where many are dependent on the opinions of others to feel valued. This independence is not a rejection of relationships, but a recognition that true happiness and fulfillment come from within. A woman who has learned to be her own source of joy, her own source of strength, is far less likely to fall into the trap of codependency in future relationships. Self-reliance is another gift that a woman with no friends can develop. When there is no one else to turn to, a woman is forced to rely on herself. This may seem daunting at first, but it is one of the most empowering experiences a woman can go through. Self-reliance does not mean that a woman never needs help or support. It means that she knows how to take care of herself, how to solve her own problems, and how to stand on her own 2 feet. She does not wait for others to rescue her or to give her permission to pursue her dreams. She takes charge of her own life. A woman with no friends learns to be resourceful. She learns how to navigate the challenges of life without relying on others to do it for her. This is a skill that will serve her well in every area of her life, from her career to her personal relationships. It takes courage to be different, to stand out from the crowd, and to walk a path that others may not understand. A woman with no friends often has to muster this kind of courage. She may be criticized, judged, or misunderstood by others who do not understand why she chooses to walk alone. But it is this very courage that sets her apart. In a world that pressures women to conform, to fit into certain molds, and to follow the crowd, a woman with no friends has the opportunity to be uniquely herself. She is not bound by the expectations of others or the pressure to be like everyone else. She is free to be authentically and unapologetically herself. This courage to be different is what allows a woman to make her mark on the world. It is what allows her to break barriers, to challenge the status quo, and to create a life that is true to her values and her purpose. A woman with no friends may walk alone, but she walks with a strength and confidence that comes from knowing who she is and what she stands for. Discernment is the ability to see beyond the surface, to understand the true nature of people and situations. A woman with no friends often develops a heightened sense of discernment. Because she is not constantly surrounded by others, she learns to observe, to listen, and to understand people on a deeper level. This gift of discernment allows a woman to make wise choices about who she allows into her life. She learns to recognize when someone is genuine and when someone is not. She learns to see through the masks that people wear and to understand their true intentions. A woman with no friends often becomes highly selective about who she associates with, not out of fear or mistrust, but out of wisdom. She understands that not everyone deserves a place in her life, and she is not afraid to walk away from relationships that do not serve her or align with her purpose. Patience is a virtue that is often tested in the life of a woman with no friends. It can be difficult to wait for the right relationships to come along, especially in a world that glorifies instant gratification. But a woman who has learned the value of solitude also learns the value of patience. She understands that meaningful relationships cannot be rushed. They take time to develop, and they require a foundation of trust and mutual respect. A woman with no friends learns to wait for the right people to come into her life, rather than settling for relationships that do not align with her values. This patience is not passive. It is active. It is the understanding that while she is waiting for the right relationship, she is also growing, developing, and preparing herself for the people who are meant to walk with her on her journey. Self-acceptance is one of the greatest gifts a woman with no friends can receive. When there are no external voices telling her who she should be, a woman is free to accept herself for who she truly is. She learns to embrace her strengths, her weaknesses, her quirks, and her flaws. She learns that she does not need to change herself to fit into someone else's idea of who she should be. This self-acceptance is not complacency. It is not an excuse to stop growing or improving. It is the recognition that she is enough just as she is, and that her worth is not dependent on the approval of others. A woman with no friends learns to love herself, to appreciate her own company, and to find peace in her own presence. This is a powerful place to be because it means that she is not dependent on others for her sense of self-worth. She knows who she is, and she is at peace with herself. There is a quiet, unshakable strength that emerges from within a woman who learns to live without the constant support of friends. This inner strength is not the loud, boisterous kind that seeks attention or validation. It is a quiet confidence, a deep-seated resilience that allows her to stand tall in the face of adversity. It is the kind of strength that comes from within, rooted in a deep understanding of who she is and what she is capable of, regardless of the opinions of others. A woman with no friends learns to be her own source of strength. When there is no one else to lean on, she becomes the pillar that holds her life together. This is not to say that she never feels fear, doubt, or uncertainty. On the contrary, She feels all of these things deeply, but she has learned to move forward despite them. She has learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. This inner strength also manifests in her ability to navigate life's challenges without seeking constant reassurance from others. A woman with no friends learns to trust herself. She learns to trust her decisions, her instincts, and her ability to handle whatever life throws her way. This self-trust is invaluable because it allows her to move through life with confidence, knowing that she is capable of handling anything that comes her way. There is a unique joy that comes from self-fulfillment, from knowing that you are living your life in alignment with your true purpose. A woman with no friends often finds herself on this path of self-fulfillment because she is not distracted by the expectations or demands of others. She is free to pursue her passions, her goals, and her dreams without worrying about how they will be perceived by those around her. This self-fulfillment is not dependent on external achievements or the approval of others. It is the deep sense of satisfaction that comes from knowing that you are living a life that is true to who you are. A woman with no friends learns to find joy in her own accomplishments, in her own growth, and in her own journey. She may not have a group of friends to celebrate her victories with, but she has something even more valuable, the knowledge that she is living a life that is authentic and meaningful. This is a joy that cannot be taken away by others because it is rooted in her own sense of purpose and fulfillment. One of the most important lessons a woman with no friends learns is the importance of boundaries. Without the constant presence of others in her life, she becomes acutely aware of her own needs, desires, and limits. She learns to set boundaries that protect her time, her energy, and her peace of mind. A woman with no friends is often more attuned to her own well-being because she is not constantly catering to the needs or expectations of others. She learns to prioritize her own mental, emotional, and physical health, and she is not afraid to say no to situations or people that drain her energy or bring negativity into her life. Boundaries are not walls, they are bridges to healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life. A woman who understands the value of boundaries is able to create space for what truly matters to her. She does not allow others to dictate how she spends her time or how she should feel. Instead, she takes ownership of her own life and makes decisions that are aligned with her values and her well-being. This ability to set boundaries is a gift that serves her well in all areas of life. It allows her to maintain her sense of self, even in relationships, and it ensures that she does not lose herself in the process of trying to please others. For many women with no friends, the journey of solitude becomes a deeply spiritual one. When the distractions of social interactions and friendships are removed, there is space for a deeper connection with the divine. A woman in this situation often finds herself turning inward, seeking answers to life's big questions, and exploring her relationship with her Creator. In the absence of friendships, a woman with no friends often discovers that her most important relationship is the one she has with the divine. She learns to rely on her faith to find comfort and strength in her spirituality, and to trust that there is a higher purpose for her life, even if she cannot always see it. Spiritual growth is often accelerated in solitude. When a woman is not distracted by the noise of the world, she can hear the still small voice within her more clearly. She learns to trust her intuition, to follow the guidance of her spirit, and to surrender to the flow of life. This spiritual journey is deeply personal and transformative. It is a process of shedding old beliefs, fears, and doubts, and stepping into a new understanding of herself and her purpose in the world. This path of spiritual growth also brings a sense of peace and contentment that cannot be found in external relationships. A woman with no friends may find herself feeling more connected to the divine, more at peace with herself, and more grounded in her purpose than ever before. This is the true gift of solitude, the opportunity to deepen her relationship with her Creator and to live a life that is guided by her spirit. A woman with no friends often has to release the expectations that society places on her. Society tells women that they should always be surrounded by friends, that they should be social, outgoing, and always available to others. But a woman who has walked the path of solitude learns that these expectations are not always realistic or healthy. She learns to release the pressure to conform to societal norms and to live her life in a way that feels authentic to her. This release of expectations is incredibly freeing. It allows her to live her life on her own terms without feeling the need to constantly meet the expectations of others. This release of expectations also extends to her relationships. A woman with no friends learns that she does not need to rely on others for her happiness or fulfillment. She learns to release the expectation that others should make her feel valued or complete. Instead, she finds her sense of worth within herself, and she is no longer dependent on others to validate her existence. There is a profound courage required to walk alone. It takes strength to stand apart from the crowd, to walk a path that others may not understand, and to pursue a life that is true to yourself. A woman with no friends often has to summon this courage daily. The world may not understand her choice to walk alone. People may question her, judge her, or pity her. But a woman who has learned to walk alone knows that her path is her own. She knows that her journey is unique and that her purpose is not tied to the approval of others. This courage to walk alone is a sign of true strength. It is the courage to trust yourself, to follow your own path, and to believe in your own worth, even when others do not. It is the courage to say, I am enough, and to live your life in alignment with that truth. Timing is everything. A woman with no friends often comes to understand the importance of timing in her life. She learns that relationships, opportunities, and experiences come into her life at the right time, and she trusts that what is meant for her will not pass her by. This wisdom of timing allows her to be patient, to wait for the right relationships, and to trust that when the time is right, the right people will come into her life. She is not in a rush to force connections or to fill the void of solitude with superficial relationships. Instead, she trusts the process of life and allows things to unfold naturally. This trust in timing also extends to her personal growth. A woman with no friends learns that growth takes time, and she is patient with herself as she navigates her own journey of self-discovery and transformation. She understands that there is no rush to become the person she is meant to be, and that each step of the journey is valuable and necessary. A woman with no friends often comes to realize that she has the power of choice in every aspect of her life. She chooses how she spends her time, who she allows into her life, and what she focuses on. This empowerment of choice is a powerful realization, because it allows her to take control of her own life. She is no longer at the mercy of other people's opinions or expectations. She chooses her own path, her own priorities, and her own destiny. This sense of empowerment is liberating because it allows her to live her life with intention and purpose. The power of choice also allows her to create the life she truly wants. A woman with no friends is free to design a life that aligns with her values, her passions, and her goals. She is not limited by the expectations of others, and she is not afraid to make bold choices that may go against the grain. Solitude is often misunderstood. In a society that places so much emphasis on social connections, being alone can sometimes be viewed as a failure or as something to be pitied. But a woman who walks the path of solitude understands that it is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. Solitude is a powerful space for growth, reflection, and healing. When a woman has no friends, she learns to find peace in her own company. She becomes her own confidant, her own supporter, and her own advisor. The silence of solitude becomes a place where she can hear her own thoughts clearly without the influence of others clouding her judgment. In this silence, she gains clarity about who she is and what she wants out of life. Solitude gives her the space to breathe, to think, and to reflect. It allows her to process her emotions, to heal from past wounds, and to gain a deeper understanding of herself. In solitude, she is able to reconnect with her inner self, to listen to the whispers of her soul, and to rediscover her purpose. There is a stillness that comes with solitude, a calmness that allows a woman to recharge and regain her strength. In this stillness, she finds her power. She learns that she does not need to be constantly surrounded by others to feel complete. Instead, she discovers that she is whole, just as she is. A woman with no friends often becomes highly attuned to the importance of self-care. Without the constant distractions of social obligations, she has the time and space to focus on her own well-being. She learns to prioritize her mental, emotional, and physical health, recognizing that she must take care of herself first in order to live a fulfilling life. Self-care is not just about pampering or indulging in luxuries. It is about setting healthy boundaries, making time for rest, and nurturing her own soul. A woman with no friends learns that self-care is essential to her well-being, and she becomes intentional about creating time and space for it in her life. She learns to listen to her body, to honor her emotions, and to give herself the care and attention she needs. This may mean taking time for herself, saying no to commitments that do not serve her, or simply allowing herself to rest when she needs it. A woman with no friends learns that self-care is not selfish, it is necessary for her survival and her growth. Through the practice of self-care, she also learns to love herself more deeply. She learns to appreciate her own worth and to treat herself with the kindness and compassion she deserves. This self-love is a powerful force, and it transforms the way she sees herself and the world around her. One of the greatest gifts a woman with no friends receives is liberation from the cycle of comparison. In a world where people are constantly measuring themselves against others, a woman who walks alone is free from this trap. Without the constant presence of others in her life, she is not constantly comparing her life, her achievements, or her appearance to those around her. This freedom from comparison allows her to live her life authentically. She is not concerned with keeping up with others or trying to meet societal expectations. Instead, she is focused on her own journey, her own growth, and her own happiness. She learns that her worth is not determined by how she measures up to others, but by how true she is to herself. Comparison is a thief of joy. It robs people of the ability to appreciate their own unique gifts and talents. But a woman with no friends learns to celebrate her own victories, no matter how small, without feeling the need to compare them to the achievements of others. She learns to find joy in her own progress, knowing that her journey is hers alone. This liberation from comparison also allows her to embrace her uniqueness. She understands that she is not meant to be like everyone else, and she takes pride in her individuality. This confidence in her own uniqueness allows her to live her life boldly and authentically without the need for external validation. Personal growth is one of the most rewarding aspects of a woman's journey when she has no friends. Without the distractions of constant social interactions, she has the opportunity to focus on her own development. She can invest in her personal growth, whether through education, hobbies, or self-reflection. A woman with no friends often has the time and space to pursue her passions, to explore new interests, and to challenge herself in ways that might not have been possible if she were constantly surrounded by others. She is free to grow at her own pace, to set her own goals, and to define what success looks like for her. This personal growth is not just about external achievements. It is about becoming the best version of herself. It is about developing her character, her resilience, and her strength. It is about learning to navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom. A woman with no friends learns that personal growth is a lifelong journey, and she embraces the process of becoming. Through this journey of personal growth, she also learns to celebrate her progress. She may not have friends to cheer her on, but she learns to be her own cheerleader. She takes pride in her accomplishments, knowing that each step forward is a victory, no matter how small. Inner peace is one of the most valuable treasures a woman with no friends can discover. In a world that is often chaotic and demanding, a woman who has learned to live without the constant noise of others finds peace within herself. This inner peace is not something that can be bought or achieved through external means. It is something that comes from within, from a deep sense of contentment and acceptance. A woman with no friends often learns to cultivate this inner peace through her experiences of solitude. She learns to quiet her mind, to let go of the need for external validation, and to find peace in her own presence. This inner peace becomes a source of strength, allowing her to navigate life's challenges with calmness and clarity. Inner peace is not the absence of problems or difficulties. It is the ability to remain centered and grounded even in the midst of chaos. A woman with no friends learns that she cannot control everything that happens in her life, but she can control how she responds to it. This understanding allows her to maintain her peace, even when things do not go as planned. This inner peace also allows her to approach life with a sense of grace and acceptance. She learns to let go of the need to control everything and to trust that life will unfold as it is meant to. This trust in the process of life brings her a deep sense of peace, knowing that she is exactly where she is meant to be. Independence is one of the greatest gifts a woman with no friends receives. When there is no one else to rely on, she learns to rely on herself. She becomes independent in every sense of the word, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even financially. This independence allows her to live life on her own terms without being dependent on others for her happiness or success. A woman with no friends learns to make her own decisions, to take responsibility for her own life, and to chart her own course. This independence is incredibly empowering because it gives her the freedom to live her life in a way that is true to herself. Independence does not mean that she never seeks help or support when she needs it. It means that she knows how to stand on her own 2 feet and that she is not afraid to take control of her own life. She learns to trust herself and her ability to navigate life's challenges.
If you find yourself awake between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., consider it a powerful opportunity to transform your day and your life with 3 simple but profound practices. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. can feel like an inconvenience, but it is often a divine calling, a nudge towards greater awareness and growth. This time frame is sometimes referred to as the hour of the Spirit, a sacred time when the world is quiet and the soul can speak its truth without distraction. If you find yourself waking up during these hours, it is an opportunity for transformation, a chance to realign with your true purpose. Here are 3 powerful actions you can take to maximize this unique moment. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is considered a powerful and transformative time for many reasons. During these early morning hours, the world is at its most peaceful and quiet, offering a unique opportunity for introspection and personal growth. This period, often called the hour of the spirit, or Brahma Muhurta in various spiritual traditions, is believed to be a time when the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds is thinnest. The stillness of the early morning provides a serene environment where the mind is free from the usual distractions and noises of daily life, allowing for a deeper connection to one's inner self and a heightened state of awareness. This time is also linked to the natural rhythm of the body and the mind. As you wake up during these hours, your mind is in a unique state of consciousness, oscillating between restfulness and alertness. This state can be incredibly conducive to self-reflection and spiritual practices, such as meditation or prayer. Waking up early, particularly between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., aligns you with nature's rhythms, promoting a sense of balance and harmony within yourself. The mind is clearer, and the spirit is more receptive to insights, inspiration, and guidance. For those seeking personal growth and spiritual advancement, these hours provide a rare window of time when the mind and body are naturally aligned with the universe's energies, making it easier to tap into one's inner wisdom and divine inspiration. Furthermore, this time is seen as an opportunity for a fresh start each day. By waking up early, you give yourself the chance to set the tone for the rest of your day intentionally. It is a moment to reflect on your goals, assess where you are in your journey, and make conscious decisions about the steps you need to take to move forward. This process of reflection and intention setting is crucial for personal development, as it allows you to approach your day with clarity and purpose rather than being reactive to the events and demands that arise. By embracing the early morning hours as a sacred time for self-discovery and growth, you can cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world, leading to a more fulfilling and purposeful life. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is often associated with a spiritual awakening and greater awareness. This time is known for its profound spiritual significance across various cultures and religious traditions. It is believed to be a period when the energy around us is most conducive to deep spiritual work. The early morning hours are free from the distractions of everyday life, allowing for a heightened sense of awareness and connection to the spiritual realm. This quiet time offers an opportunity for spiritual awakening, where one can become more attuned to their inner voice and higher purpose. During these hours, there is a unique stillness and quietness that is not present at any other time of the day. The world is at rest, and the noise of daily activities has yet to begin. This calm environment makes it easier to tune into spiritual energies and listen to the quiet whispers of the soul. For many, this is the perfect time to engage in practices that enhance spiritual awareness, such as prayer, meditation, or contemplation. These practices help to deepen one's connection to the divine and foster a sense of spiritual clarity and insight. The early morning hours are seen as a time when the spiritual world is more accessible, making it an ideal moment to seek guidance, receive inspiration, and align with one's spiritual path. Furthermore, waking up during these hours can signify a call from the universe or a higher power to engage in deeper spiritual practice and self-exploration. It is often seen as an invitation to explore one's spiritual beliefs and values more deeply, to question and seek understanding, and to grow closer to the divine. This period can serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of spiritual growth and development, prompting individuals to look beyond the physical world and connect with something greater than themselves. By embracing this time as a period of spiritual awakening, individuals can gain a greater sense of purpose and direction in their lives, leading to a more meaningful and enriched existence. The first thing to do when you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is to engage in reflection and meditation to connect with your inner self. This time is ideal for quiet contemplation, allowing you to center your thoughts and focus on what truly matters in your life. Meditation during these early hours can be incredibly powerful, because it helps clear the mind of daily clutter, reducing stress and anxiety. By meditating, you are not just calming the mind, but also opening yourself up to deeper insights and self-awareness. This practice allows you to connect with your inner wisdom, uncovering thoughts and feelings that might be hidden under the surface during the busyness of the day. Reflection at this time is about taking a step back from the daily grind and looking inward to understand your thoughts, emotions, and motivations. It provides a moment to ask yourself important questions about your life's direction, your goals, and your values. This period of quiet introspection is an opportunity to evaluate where you are on your journey, to assess the choices you have made, and to determine if they are in line with your true self. By taking the time to reflect, you gain clarity on your path, allowing you to make more conscious decisions that align with your purpose and aspirations. Additionally, meditating in the early morning fosters a sense of peace and calm that can set the tone for the entire day. This practice helps in grounding yourself, ensuring that you start the day with a clear mind and a focused heart. The act of meditation allows you to be fully present in the moment, enhancing your ability to handle whatever the day might bring with grace and resilience. By connecting with your inner self through reflection and meditation, you create a strong foundation for personal growth, enabling you to approach each day with renewed energy and purpose. The second thing to do when you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is to plan your day with clear intentions. This early morning time is perfect for setting your goals and priorities because your mind is fresh, uncluttered, and highly receptive. Planning your day in this tranquil period allows you to think clearly about what you want to accomplish, not just in terms of tasks, but also in aligning these tasks with your broader life goals and values. This isn't just about creating a checklist. It's about consciously deciding how you want your day to unfold, what you want to achieve, and how those achievements will bring you closer to your long-term aspirations. When you plan your day with intention, you are actively choosing to focus on what truly matters, rather than reacting to the demands and distractions that inevitably arise. This proactive approach helps in managing your time effectively, ensuring that your energy is spent on activities that have the most significant impact. By setting clear priorities, you also reduce the mental clutter that can come from indecision or a lack of focus, leading to a more productive and fulfilling day. You're not just planning for efficiency, you're planning for meaning and purpose, which brings a deeper sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. Moreover, planning your day in the early morning can help you visualize the outcomes you desire and mentally prepare for any challenges that might arise. This practice fosters a sense of readiness and confidence, enabling you to handle the day's tasks with a positive mindset. By visualizing success and setting a clear path for the day, you create a mental framework that supports your goals and keeps you motivated. Planning with intention is not just about organizing your tasks, it's about setting a deliberate course for the day that aligns with your inner purpose, leading to a more balanced and purposeful life. The third thing to do when you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is to engage in gratitude practice to elevate your spirit and mindset. Gratitude is a powerful tool that can shift your focus from what is lacking in your life to what is abundant and fulfilling. Starting your day with gratitude allows you to set a positive tone for the hours ahead. By reflecting on what you are thankful for, you begin the day with a mindset of abundance, which can positively influence your thoughts, actions, and interactions with others throughout the day. Gratitude helps to cultivate a sense of contentment and fulfillment, no matter what external circumstances you might face. Practicing gratitude during these early morning hours is particularly impactful because your mind is at its most receptive and peaceful state. With fewer distractions, you can deeply immerse yourself in this practice, allowing the feelings of appreciation and thankfulness to resonate more profoundly. This practice can involve silently reflecting on the things you are grateful for, writing them down in a journal, or even speaking them out loud. The act of expressing gratitude in any form helps reinforce a positive mindset and a sense of well-being. It shifts your focus away from negative thoughts or worries and directs your energy toward the positive aspects of your life, fostering a more optimistic and hopeful outlook. Additionally, a regular gratitude practice has numerous mental and emotional benefits, including reducing stress and anxiety, enhancing mood, and improving overall emotional resilience. By consistently recognizing and appreciating the good in your life, you train your brain to look for the positives, even in challenging situations. This can help you develop a stronger, more resilient mindset that is better equipped to handle adversity and setbacks. In essence, by starting your day with gratitude between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., you not only enhance your spiritual and emotional well-being, but also lay the groundwork for a more productive, positive, and fulfilling day ahead. Engaging in deep breathing exercises is another beneficial practice to incorporate when you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Deep breathing helps you center your mind and body, creating a calm and focused state that is essential for a productive day. During these early morning hours, when the world is still and your mind is less cluttered by the day's demands, deep breathing can have a profound effect on your mental and physical state. This practice not only reduces stress and anxiety, but also increases oxygen flow to your brain, which enhances clarity and concentration. By starting your day with a few minutes of intentional deep breathing, you can significantly improve your mental alertness and emotional balance, setting a positive tone for the rest of the day. Deep breathing exercises are also a powerful way to connect with your inner self. When you focus on your breath, you bring your attention inward, creating a moment of mindfulness that allows you to become more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations. This awareness is crucial for recognizing any tensions or anxieties you may be holding on to, providing an opportunity to release them before they influence your day. Breathing deeply and intentionally helps you ground yourself in the present moment, promoting a sense of peace and centeredness. This practice can be especially beneficial in the early hours when your mind is more open to introspection and self-reflection. Moreover, deep breathing can enhance your spiritual practice by helping you enter a state of relaxation and receptivity. In many spiritual traditions, the breath is considered a vital link between the body and spirit, and focusing on it, it can deepen your connection to your inner self and the divine. By incorporating deep breathing into your morning routine, you can prepare yourself for meditation, prayer, or other spiritual activities, making them more effective and meaningful. Overall, practicing deep breathing between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. not only nurtures your physical and mental health, but also enriches your spiritual well-being, providing a holistic foundation for the day ahead. Reading or listening to inspirational and motivational content is a powerful practice to adopt when you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. During these quiet early morning hours, your mind is more open and receptive to positive and uplifting messages. This time is ideal for filling your thoughts with words of encouragement, wisdom, and motivation, which can set a positive tone for the rest of your day. Engaging with inspirational content helps you start your day with a sense of purpose and direction, reminding you of your goals and aspirations. It also provides you with the mental and emotional fuel needed to face the day's challenges with confidence and optimism. When you read or listen to motivational content, you are actively feeding your mind with thoughts that can transform your mindset and attitude. This practice can include reading a few pages from a motivational book, listening to a podcast or speech, or even reflecting on inspirational quotes. The idea is to immerse yourself in messages that resonate with you and align with your values and aspirations. By doing so, you cultivate a mindset of growth and positivity, which can help you stay focused and resilient throughout the day. This is especially important in the early morning when the mind is most susceptible to influence, making it the perfect time to reinforce positive beliefs and attitudes. Additionally, engaging with inspirational content can serve as a form of mental and emotional preparation for the day ahead. It helps you cultivate a mindset of perseverance and determination, reminding you of your strengths and capabilities. By internalizing these messages, you build a mental toolkit that you can draw upon whenever you face obstacles or setbacks. This practice not only boosts your motivation, but also enhances your overall sense of well-being, providing you with a strong foundation to navigate the day with purpose and confidence. Engaging with motivational content between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. thus becomes a powerful strategy for personal growth and development, enabling you to live each day with greater intention and fulfillment. Engaging in light physical exercise is a beneficial practice to adopt when you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. During this quiet time, a gentle form of exercise such as stretching, yoga, or a short walk can help awaken your body and prepare you for the day ahead. Engaging in light exercise early in the morning is not just about physical health, but also about energizing your mind and spirit. It helps increase blood flow, which delivers oxygen and nutrients to your muscles and brain, enhancing both physical vitality and mental clarity. This gentle movement allows you to shake off any grogginess or stiffness from sleep, ensuring that you start your day feeling refreshed and alert. Light exercise during these early hours also promotes a sense of balance and harmony within your body. Activities like yoga or stretching involve mindful movements and deep breathing, which can help calm the nervous system and reduce stress. These exercises encourage a connection between the mind and body, fostering a sense of inner peace and well-being. By incorporating these practices into your morning routine, you are not only taking care of your physical health, but also nurturing your mental and emotional well-being.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a world where people often seek validation from others, it's almost inevitable that at some point each one of us will face rejection. Maybe it's from a friend, a family member, or even someone who once claimed to cherish us deeply. Rejection isn't just a word, it's a feeling, a reality that etches itself into our hearts. And when it's severe, the scars can feel almost insurmountable. But what happens when we meet that rejection with silence? You see, silence, in its very essence, is powerful. In a world so full of noise, chatter, and endless opinions, the absence of words speaks louder than any phrase ever could. When we choose silence, we allow space for reflection, for the energy to settle, and for the soul to recalibrate. And often, when silence follows rejection, it begins to serve as a mirror. Rejection is a force. It is a declaration of someone's perceived inadequacy in another's eyes, a choice to distance oneself for reasons known or unknown. But silence is strength. Silence is the force of restraint, of conscious choice to withhold words that might otherwise inflame or trigger an emotional reaction. When someone rejects you and you respond with silence, that silence begins to reverberate in their world in ways they may never have anticipated. Let me tell you something that many people have yet to realize: silence holds a weight. It lingers in the heart, it fills the mind, and it unsettles the spirit of the one who rejected you. Because silence makes them wonder, silence makes them question, and most profoundly, silence makes them reflect. The absence of reaction unsettles them because it's a reaction they can't predict, manipulate, or counter. The one who rejects you expects a certain response, maybe anger, perhaps a plea, or at the very least, disappointment. They want to see evidence that they matter enough to affect you. But when your response is a profound, confident silence, they are forced to sit with the reality that perhaps they overestimated their importance in your life. They begin to wonder, did I make the right decision? Silence, dear friends, is one of the most dignified responses we can offer in the face of rejection. It is not passive, in fact. It is the most active choice you can make. When others dismiss you, ridicule you, or push you aside, silence allows you to reclaim power. Instead of rushing to defend yourself, explaining your worth, or begging for acceptance, silence lets your actions speak for themselves. And more importantly, it allows their own consciousness to work on them. Imagine this: when someone rejects you, they may believe they hold power over you, assuming that their decision defines your worth. But when you answer with silence, you deny them this false sense of power. You've turned away from seeking their validation and instead leaned into the understanding that your worth is not theirs to measure. Silence is also, in a way, a form of respect. Not necessarily respect for them, but respect for yourself and your journey. It's a declaration that you don't need to engage in endless back and forth to assert your value. It tells them in the world that your energy is too precious to waste on proving your worth to those who have chosen not to see it. And here's something truly remarkable: silence is not just about them, it's about you. It's about recognizing the space and the peace you need to heal, to grow, and to gain perspective. Silence after rejection offers you the clarity that words often cloud. It provides room for contemplation, for gathering strength, and for understanding that their rejection is not your definition, but rather a revelation. Silence, in this sense, becomes a gift you give yourself, a sanctuary from the judgments and opinions of others. Now, let's talk about what happens in the minds of those who reject you when they are met with your silence. At first, they may feel relieved, thinking, oh, that went easier than expected, but over time, that silence will begin to echo. In the void of your response, their mind begins to fill in the blanks, questioning if they made a mistake, if they misunderstood, or if they underestimated you. Silence left long enough creates a space where their assumptions are left to stir without validation. This space can often lead to discomfort, then curiosity, and eventually doubt. You see, silence, though peaceful, can become unsettling for others because they don't know how to handle it. They expected you to chase after them, to seek approval, to respond with pain or anger. But when you do the opposite, you leave them with questions that only they can answer. This silence disrupts their expectations, and in that disruption, they are forced to face the consequences of their rejection. It is here that silence can begin to work on their conscience. When you remain silent, you force them to confront what lies beneath their choice to reject you. Was it insecurity? Was it a need to feel superior? Or was it a fear of your potential? Your silence allows them the space to sit with these questions, and over time, this can become an unexpected source of discomfort and ultimately regret. And here's an important truth, friends: not everyone is prepared to handle regret. Not everyone is ready to admit that they may have overlooked something valuable in you. Silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their actions back to them without interference. This mirror forces them to see not only the reality of their decision, but also the depth of their own insecurities, fears, and flaws. There is power in this because over time, your silence reveals the reality that you don't need their approval to thrive. In fact, it becomes apparent that you are thriving without them. This can be deeply unsettling for those who thrive on control, on validation, or on the mistaken belief that they are indispensable in your life. Now, why does this silence hurt them so deeply? Because silence leaves no room for defense or justification. When you argue or plead, they have the satisfaction of knowing that their rejection affected you. But when you are silent, they have nothing to work with. Silence denies them the comfort of knowing they were the center of your world. Instead, they are left wondering if they ever really mattered to you at all. People who reject often anticipate your reaction. They're ready for rebuttals, for reactions, for counter-arguments. But silence is something they can neither predict nor control. And that unpredictability is unsettling, because it forces them into a position of vulnerability they weren't prepared for. In your silence, they come face to face with their own insecurities. In fact, silence can often make them question their own actions. They might wonder, did I act too harshly? Was there something I missed? That silence forces them into introspection, leading them to question if their rejection was born out of truth or out of a need to protect their own ego. Silence is also an expression of independence. It tells them and everyone around you that you don't need their validation to feel complete. Your silence is a statement that says, I am enough without your acceptance, and I will continue to be enough whether you see it or not. It's a message that resonates whether they admit it or not, because it points to an inner strength they may not have anticipated. And while they grapple with the discomfort your silence brings, you are gifted with something much more profound: peace. You're free from the need to explain or justify your worth. You're liberated from the cycle of seeking approval from those who couldn't see your value. Instead, you are able to focus on your own journey, your growth, and your healing. This freedom is priceless, and it is something no amount of external validation can replace. Silence becomes a powerful teacher. It teaches those who rejected you that their opinion does not define you. It teaches them that their approval is not a currency by which you measure your self-worth. And perhaps most significantly, it teaches them that they can lose you, that you are not bound to them by their perception of who you are. Silence, my friends, can be like a balm to the soul, a force that soothes and strengthens. It's easy to forget that silence doesn't mean passivity or weakness. In fact, it takes great strength to withhold words, especially when your heart has been wounded. When someone rejects you, the instinct is often to rush to explain, defend, or ask for answers. But in choosing silence, you resist this impulse, grounding yourself in a place of inner resilience that few truly understand. You see, silence after rejection is not about ignoring or pretending that pain doesn't exist. No, it's about acknowledging that your healing doesn't depend on someone else's recognition or apology. Your silence serves as a boundary, a line you draw to protect yourself from further harm. It's a signal that you're giving yourself space to reflect, to process, and to rise above. It says, I am still worthy, even if you fail to see it. Those who reject you often believe that their actions will diminish your spirit, that they have the power to lower your sense of worth. But your silence tells them something quite different. It tells them that you are rooted in a strength far beyond their understanding. When they hear nothing in return, when they realize that you are not pleading for their attention or trying to convince them of your value, they are faced with an unsettling truth: they don't hold sway over your life. Silence can also act as a protective shield. In a world where every action, every reaction is scrutinized, silence becomes a fortress, guarding you from judgment, gossip, and negativity. In choosing silence, you create a space free from the noise of opinions, one where you can nurture your own peace and dignity. Rejection may have wounded you, but silence keeps that wound from being reopened by unnecessary confrontation or criticism. Now, for those who rejected you, your silence creates an unexpected void. In the emptiness of that silence, they are left alone with the echoes of their choice. They may begin to realize that perhaps their rejection was hasty, that may be in their pursuit of something better. They fail to appreciate the beauty of what they already had. And in time, that void grows, making them question their decision more deeply than any words ever could. In their silence, they are left to wonder, why hasn't this person reacted? Why didn't they respond? This lack of response is what unsettles them most, because it's a reaction they cannot control or anticipate. They don't know if you're moving on, if you're thriving without them, or if you're simply uninterested in rekindling what they so casually dismissed. Silence is a mystery, and that mystery causes discomfort, often leading them to question their actions and sometimes even to feel regret. Regret, as we know, is a powerful emotion, and it's one that cannot be easily shaken. Once regret takes hold, it creates a ripple effect within them. It stirs their conscience, making them question not only their decision to reject you, but also the deeper reasons behind it. Regret lingers, it haunts, and it often leads to a period of introspection they might never have embarked upon otherwise. This is where your silence becomes truly transformative. It forces them to examine their own heart, their own intentions, and the motivations behind their rejection. They may come to realize that their decision was not a reflection of your worth, but rather a mirror of their own insecurities and fears. They may see that in dismissing you, they were trying to mask their own shortcomings or avoid facing the areas in themselves that need healing. By staying silent, you give them the gift of self-reflection. You become a catalyst for their growth, even if they are unwilling to admit it. They begin to see the error of their ways, not because you pointed it out, but because they were left alone with their conscience. In your silence, you have provided them with the opportunity to confront themselves in a way that words never could. You allowed them to look into the mirror and see the truth of their actions without interference. And let's not forget, silence also liberates you. It frees you from the cycle of needing approval or chasing validation. It reminds you that you are not dependent on someone else's acceptance to feel complete. Silence, in this sense, is an act of self-love. It allows you to nurture your own spirit, to find solace within yourself, and to grow in ways that might have been impossible had you sought closure through words. In your silence, you reclaim your time, energy, and focus. You begin to see that rejection was never about you, it was about them. It was about their inability to see your value, their unwillingness to accept your authenticity, or their own lack of readiness to meet you where you are. By choosing silence, you stop seeking explanations that were never yours to find. And here is something profound: silence allows you to rediscover your own voice. In that quiet, you hear the whispers of your own intuition, your own dreams, and your own desires. You begin to remember the strength that lies within you, a strength that was perhaps dimmed in the shadow of someone else's rejection. Silence becomes a space where you can reconnect with yourself, nurturing the parts of you that were overlooked or misunderstood. For those who rejected you, this silence can be excruciating because it reveals their miscalculations. It reveals that you are stronger, more resilient, and more self-sufficient than they ever realized. They begin to see that in rejecting you, they may have lost someone truly valuable, someone whose presence in their life brought light and meaning. Your silence then is not a retreat. It is a silent affirmation of your worth, a statement that says, I am whole. With or without your acceptance, it's a declaration that you are no longer willing to allow others to dictate your sense of self. You are, in essence, setting a standard. If they cannot see your value, then your silence will show them what they are missing. Over time, your silence becomes a reminder of their own loss. As they watch you grow, thrive, and become more of who you are meant to be, they are left to ponder the opportunity they squandered. This realization can be painful, even haunting, as they come to terms with the reality that your life is moving forward, unshaken by their decision to walk away. And make no mistake, as you grow in silence, they will see the strength of your character, the integrity of your heart, and the resilience of your spirit. They will witness often from a distance the unfolding of your journey, the success that comes from staying true to yourself. And in that witnessing, they may feel a sting of regret, knowing that they missed out on something rare and irreplaceable. So let your silence speak. Let it be a testament to your strength, a reminder of your worth, and a symbol of your inner peace. Let it be a space where you can find healing, growth, and resilience. For in that silence, you hold the power to redefine not only how others see you, but also how you see yourself. You see, in silence, you're no longer playing by their rules. Rejection often comes with unspoken expectations that you'll be hurt, that you'll try to convince them otherwise, or that you'll show signs of struggle without them. But when you remain silent, you break away from this narrative. You show them in the world that your peace does not depend on their validation. And this, my friends, is a truth that unsettles those who thought they could diminish your spirit with their rejection. Silence transforms rejection into reflection. It allows you to ask questions that truly matter, questions that bring you closer to understanding yourself. You might ask, what can I learn from this experience? How can this rejection refine my character and align me with my purpose? Rather than focusing on their decision to reject you, silence shifts the focus to what you can gain from it. This mindset not only liberates you, but also strengthens you, revealing aspects of yourself that you may have overlooked. Through silence, you come to see that rejection is often a redirection. While someone's rejection may close a door, silence allows you to hear the knock of new opportunities, new relationships, and new paths that align more closely with your values. It's through this quiet that you discover that rejection was never an end, it was an invitation to explore new beginnings. Now, consider this: when you meet rejection with silence, you create an aura of mystery and depth around yourself. It's not about being aloof or inaccessible, but about holding your own value in such high regard that you don't need to explain or justify it to those who do not see it. This quiet confidence can be a powerful magnet, drawing in the right kind of people and opportunities, people who respect you for who you are, not who they want you to be. For those who rejected you, this silence can become a powerful mirror reflecting their own inner landscape. They begin to realize that their rejection of you did not affect you as they anticipated. Rather than seeing you diminished or defeated, they observe you thriving in ways they hadn't imagined. They start to question their decision, wondering if in pushing you away, they've inadvertently pushed away a part of themselves. In a way, your silence invites them into a process of self-discovery. They might find themselves questioning their own motives, their own insecurities, and their own values. They begin to see that perhaps it wasn't you they were rejecting, but rather a part of themselves they weren't ready to face. Your silence becomes a teacher, revealing truths they may have been avoiding. It challenges them to look inward, to confront their own unresolved issues, and to grow. But let us not forget the most important part of this journey, your growth. In the silence, you have the opportunity to reconnect with the parts of yourself that are truly essential. You begin to value your own voice, your own path, and your own potential in a way that no external approval can measure. Your silence becomes a space where you can nurture your dreams, focus on your goals, and cultivate the strengths that define who you are. And here's the beauty of it all: as you embrace this silence, you begin to see that rejection was never a reflection of your inadequacy. It was instead being stoned toward becoming more authentic, more resilient, and more fulfilled. In choosing silence, you claim your worth without needing validation from anyone else. You discover that the power to define your life has always been within you, waiting for you to recognize it. This silence, this profound stillness, is not only a reaction to rejection, but also a declaration of independence. It is a sign that you are no longer chained to the opinions, judgments, or rejections of others. You are free to define your own path, to follow your own calling, and to live in alignment with your own truth. And that freedom, my friends, is priceless. For those who observe you from a distance, watching as you grow and thrive in your silence, the impact is often profound. They realize, perhaps too late, that their rejection did not weaken you, it strengthened you. They see that in choosing to stand alone, you have become someone they can no longer ignore. Your silence speaks of a strength they cannot understand, a resilience they did not anticipate, and a purpose they can no longer deny. And as they watch, some may even feel a longing to return, to be a part of your journey once again. But by then, you will have moved forward, embracing a life that is rich with purpose, clarity, and inner peace. Your silence has not only healed you, but has also shown them the cost of underestimating your worth. In this journey of silence, you discover a truth that transcends rejection, that your life's purpose, your sense of self, and your happiness were never tied to anyone's acceptance. Your silence reveals that your worth is rooted in something far greater than the opinions of others. It is grounded in the realization that you are enough just as you are, and that nothing, not rejection, not criticism, not doubt, can diminish your inherent value. So let silence be your response to those who cannot see your worth. Let it be your answer to those who try to define you by their limitations. And as you walk this path of quiet strength, may you find a peace that surpasses all understanding, a purpose that fills your heart with joy, and a confidence that no one can take from you. In this silence, you are reborn. You are free, you are whole, and you are powerful beyond measure. And that, my friends, is the legacy of your silence. Your silence, when embraced as a response to rejection, becomes a vessel of wisdom. It's not merely the absence of words, it's a powerful declaration of self-respect and boundary. Silence does something words cannot. It communicates on a level that speaks directly to the heart. While people might dismiss words as insincere or manipulative, silence has a way of bypassing all defenses and touching people's conscience. For those who rejected you, it becomes a reminder that you were strong enough to walk away without seeking approval, and this realization often unsettles them deeply. This discomfort they feel is rooted in their understanding that your silence is a choice to rise above the hurt and not be dragged down into resentment or bitterness. When you choose not to react, you demonstrate an awareness of your value, showing that you understand the importance of conserving your energy and mental peace. This is something that people who operate from a place of insecurity often cannot fathom. They expect reactions because they believe that rejection defines the rejected. But when you remain silent, you show them that their opinion of you does not control your worth. You refuse to be moved by their decision, proving that your sense of identity remains unshaken. And here is a profound truth: the person who can remain silent is often the one who has the strongest inner voice. They have nothing to prove, nothing to defend. Silence allows you to step back and view the situation objectively, not clouded by hurt or anger, but with clarity and grace. You begin to see that their rejection is not the end, but a stepping stone, pushing you toward a deeper understanding of who you are and what you deserve. In the silence, you find the courage to redefine yourself on your terms rather than allowing others' judgments to shape your identity. This silence nurtures a kind of confidence that is rare. It is not the confidence that comes from external validation or applause, but a quieter, more enduring sense of worth that cannot be taken away. And as you grow in this self-assuredness, others will begin to see you in a new light. They will see a person who is grounded, resilient, and unshakable qualities that many aspire to but few attain. Over time, Those who rejected you may come to realize that your silence was not a retreat, but an act of empowerment. As they watch you flourish without them, as they see you standing firm in your values and thriving in your purpose, they will come to understand that rejection did not weaken you, it revealed your strength. Your silence will become a reflection of their loss, a reminder of what they let go of, and this realization can be profoundly humbling. But here is something even more powerful as you grow in this journey. You start to understand that their rejection was not a punishment, but a redirection. It was a blessing in disguise, an opportunity to remove distractions and focus on what truly matters. When you embrace silence, you stop wasting energy on people who do not value you. And you redirect that energy toward those who do. You begin to attract relationships and opportunities that align with your highest self. People who appreciate you for who you are, not who they want you to be. Through silence, you are reintroduced to yourself. You begin to hear the desires of your heart, the dreams you once set aside, the goals you postponed for the sake of others. Silence creates space for you to reconnect with the parts of yourself that were overshadowed by rejection. And as you nurture these parts, you start to realize that your value was never diminished by someone's inability to see it. You are whole, complete, and valuable, just as you are. In choosing silence, you take control of your story. You decide not to be defined by others' opinions, but by your own truth. This shift in perspective is transformative. Instead of seeking validation from others, you become your own source of worth.